What's going on, guys? It's your boy the Cash Critic and welcome back to another streaming and chill video, wrapping up the month of March for 2023 with week number 4. So let's go ahead. We're going to take a deep dive right into it. We have a lot of new content. As you know, last week we ended up skipping it because this month is a little bit longer than the rest. Now, I do want to make an announcement specifically regarding the segment for Disney Plus, which we're going to be tackling actually right away. So going forward for the month of April, at least, we will not be going over Disney Plus, but instead be going over Amazon Prime. The reason for that is because there's not that much content going on Disney Plus right now. And additionally, they've actually been slowing down the amount of content because they feel as though they need to work on other kind of projects too. So for going forward, we're just going to be having Netflix, HBO Max, Apple TV Plus, and Amazon Prime. And I think it's a good refresher either way. I might be doing this on a rotation no matter what for other streaming services as well to implement Peacock, implement Hulu, or whatever other case may be out there too. So before we dive in, as always, guys, be sure to hit that like, hit that subscribe button down below. Of course, share it with a friend. Let's take a look into my top 5 choices in my hidden gem for Disney Plus. So the very first one I have here is actually Limitless with Chris Hemsworth from National Geographic. This was actually released back in 2022. However, it is starring obviously Chris Hemsworth himself. He takes on 6 extreme epic challenges around the world, pretty much testing the human body. So it's super intense. It's also very informative as well about the human body as a whole. So if you're into that, definitely something worth your while. And now for option number 2, guys, I have To Catch a Smuggler. Now, seasons 1 through 4. This was originally released in 2020, but it does go through all the way into 2022, right? So it's a great docuseries of the United States Department of Homeland Security, pretty much stopping smugglers at airports. So if you're into like the show Cops, if you're into that true crime kind of stuff, criminal kind of stuff, then this is absolutely worth your while, as you can only imagine the type of crazy items that people try to get through the actual airport itself in TSA, right? So definitely worth your while. Now, option number 3, guys, I have The Mandalorian Season 3, of course, back in action, specifically Episode 5. So, of course, this is starring Pedro Pascal. This is by far the best episode this whole season. And as many of you know, Season 3 has been fairly slow. It hasn't been trending much. And also, additionally, the actual makers of the show, the director, the actual higher-ups in Marvel, they're not very happy with how the show's performing. And I think this is the episode to actually go ahead and boost the numbers and viewership because it really does desperately need it. But that's definitely my option number 3 if you guys haven't watched that episode yet or have even not started season 3. Now, for option number 4, guys, I have Renovations. Yes, so this is releasing actually April 12th, starring Jeremy Renner, no other than himself. It is a 4-part series where he actually creates vehicles around the world. So he finds abandoned vehicles, purchases them, and fixes them up, right? He renovates them. But he renovates them to a certain aspect to actually go ahead and serve communities that are in need. So, for example, he went ahead and renovated a whole entire bus to provide water to a community that was in need, right? So he travels all across the world doing this. It's awesome. It's very, very nice of him to do this as well. And just showing different lifestyles in different parts of the world that could really go ahead and help us to see how they live. And as we are very fortunate, and then also maybe contribute and do some kind of donation towards those kind of countries or third world parties as well. It's definitely worth your while to check out. Now, option number 5, guys, I have I Chose to Survive. So this is actually Jeremy Renner's first appearance / interview since his actual accident that he ended up having when he got ran over by a snowcat. Now, for those of you that don't know what a snowcat is, it's a pretty much like a giant snowplow, and you typically see those on actual, let's say, ski lifts where they're actually grooming the snow. It's very similar to that, and it almost took his life back on January 1st of 2023 when he got ran over by it. So it's absolutely gripping. It's emotional, right? It's scary. The story itself, they're going to release real recordings of the 911 calls. It's going to be graphic images, and obviously, of course, his journey as to where he is now while fully recovering. So definitely worth your while, since this is going to be a very hot interview that's going to be releasing on April 6th. Now, for my hidden gem, as you guys can already see on my screen as well, I have A Bug's Life. So this was released in 1998 by Pixar. This is a story, of course, of an ant looking for warriors in his hometown, trying to see if they're going to be able to help him to battle off the grasshoppers that are pretty much bullying them and destroying where they live. So it's a great fun story, right? It's family friendly, definitely good for the young ones as well if you have any, and just a good refresher of what the great film that we had that released back in 1998. So those are my top 5 choices for Disney Plus, as well as my hidden gem. Alrighty guys, now on to segment number 2. We're kicking it right off with Apple TV Plus. So my very first option is the Big Door Prize that actually just released yesterday on March 29th, right? So actually, apologize, 2 days ago. So this is revolving a small town called Deerfield, right? Where a mysterious machine actually appears in a grocery store that actually has the capability of changing people's lives. And that's as far out as I'm going to go with it. It's a super, super comedic kind of show. It's currently trending in the top 10 of Apple TV Plus. It's hilarious. The cast is incredible, so definitely worth your while, as you can only imagine the type of life changes some people might ask for. Now for option number 2 is the very highly anticipated Tetris film that's actually starring Taron Egerton that just got released today, right? So he tells the story of how one of the most famous video games ended up actually finding its way to the players worldwide, and ultimately it is kind of based off a true story as well, while undergoing huge certain kind of circumstances to actually get that kind of job done. So it's action, it's thriller, it's suspense. Great positive reviews as well from people that already watched the movie. So this is definitely something, if you're staying in on Friday night, order that pizza, sit down with the kids too. This is definitely something worth your while as well. Now for option number 3, guys, I have Extrapolation. So I know I mentioned this one previously, but now with the episodes increasing, I think we're on episode 7 coming out as of today, right? This was released back in March 17th. The story revolves around mankind as to how we pretty much cause an intense, impactful issue on the atmosphere and also just global warming as a whole, which took a hit on every single person's everyday, day-to-day lifestyle, right? So it's futuristic, it's sci-fi type of style. However, it really does get your mind thinking of future possibilities, as this could be very, very relatable in today's world and today's topics of conversation, as this story does take place anywhere between the years of 2040 and 2070. Now, definitely worth your while if that's what you're into as well. Now, option number 4, guys, I have The Problem with Jon Stewart Season 2. So Season 2 was actually released back in October of 2022. But of course, with the host obviously being Jon Stewart, he goes into deep dives to the world's biggest issues in trying to interview the highest levels of power, as long as they answer him right, creating debates and realistic, logical kind of solutions too. So it's actually very interesting and very informative. And if you love debates, such politics, conversations, absolutely something you want to check out as well. Now, option number 5 on my list, I have Tom Hanks' Finch. This is actually a movie that released back in 2021. One of my all-time favorites from Tom Hanks, actually. And, of course, it's revolving around the story of Finch, which is Tom Hanks himself, and a dog and a robot that was actually built to help him find a new home while on Earth, because Earth at this point is almost completely non-inhabitable. So there's drama, there's thrilling, there's action, the story, and there's emotions that are incredible that will get you gripping to the actual film itself. And now for my hidden gem as well, guys, is another Tom Hanks, Greyhound. Now, this was actually released back in 2021 as well. It's actually inspired by true events from World War II, as a captain leads a convoy of 37 ships across the Atlantic to deliver supplies and soldiers to allies. So it's suspenseful, it's intense, and it's action-packed. Definitely something you want to check out. I'm not even into war kind of films or shows at all, and this really had me at the edge of my seat as well. So that's segment number 2 for my Apple TV Plus choices and my hidden gem. Alrighty, guys, now onto segment number 3. So we have HBO Max, my top 5 choices and hidden gem. And we, of course, we're kicking it off with Succession Season 4. The time has finally come. It's finally here, right? Released this past Sunday, the very first episode. The powerful entertainment news family is back in action with its suspense and backstab in family ways, unfortunately. It's a must watch, not even if you're into business or family drama. This is something you're definitely going to enjoy. Now for option number 2, I have Rain Dogs. Now this was released back on March 6th of 2023. The cast is phenomenal and actually has been doing fairly well with positive feedback from reviewers. And also, it involves a working middle-class mom with a young daughter pretty much struggling to survive, however bond with like another family, where they pack together and try to get through like a chaotic type of lifestyle. So it's very drama-filled, but definitely something you want to check out if you haven't even given it the time of day. Now, option number 3, guys, I have Those Who Wish Me Dead, which is a movie that was released back in 2021 that's featuring Angelina Jolie and Nicholas Hoult, right? And if you guys don't know who Nicholas Hoult is, he's actually Renfield in the new Renfield movie that's coming out with Nicolas Cage as Dracula. But this is regarding a teenage murder witness being chased by actually assassins in the wilderness of Montana. However, a survivalist expert actually ends up protecting this child. It's definitely worth watching. It's action-packed and it's thrilling. It's a great movie, and definitely a good movie that if you want to go ahead and sit down on a Sunday, Saturday, whatever the case may be, sit down and watch it and just relax for the rest of the day. And now option number 4, guys, I apologize. I have DC's Titans Season 4. Now, this is the final season in its story. Of course, this follows the groups of the superheroes that created an alliance together, attempting to take down Lex Luthor and other villains along the way, right? The series will finish off with 12 episodes this season. And of course, it's action-packed, superhero related. So if you're into that, of course, this is something you're going to want to watch. And especially after HBO Max took over the show from CW, the CGI and the story did get much better and much more needed improvements. So I think overall, from most likely season 3 and 4, you see those improvements take place. So it's definitely worth a watch if you're into those kind of shows too. And for option number 5, we have Barry Season 2. Yes, I know we spoke about this previously. However, Season 3 will be coming March 16th. So Season 2 was released back in 2022. It's definitely your time to go ahead and catch up. Of course, the story revolves around a hitman that moves from the Midwest to LA and gets caught up in the art industry. So it's action-packed. The writing is phenomenal, and the show itself has a ton of comedy as well. And now for my hidden gem, which you can already see on the screen as well, is War, the movie that came out back in 2007 featuring Jet Li and Jason Statham. Pretty much this revolves around the story of an FBI agent looking to pretty much get revenge on the person that ended up killing his wife and also just blowing up his house. Now, it's a whirlwind of events that happen in this movie. There's a lot of twists and turns, and it's action-packed, of course, with those two actors in there. You can expect a lot of fun. So definitely worth your while if you haven't seen it already. So there you guys have it. That's my HBO Max top 5 choices and my hidden gem. On to segment number 4. We have my Netflix top 5 choices and hidden gem. How to save the best for last, right? Or the most popular streaming service. So I apologize for that, guys. We went backwards this time. We went backwards. So the very first option I have here is I See You, which is a movie that released back in 2019. However, it's currently number 1 in the top 10 charts of films on Netflix. So it's pretty much regarding a police officer and doctor going through like a marriage issue. However, while the police officer is investigating a kidnapping, and uncovers a ton of different kind of secrets from previous years as well. Of course, it's action-packed. It has that true crime feel, so if you're into it, obviously they're doing something right with bringing it back onto the streaming platform since it is ranked number 1 on their streaming platform. Now, for option number 2, which just got released today, guys, is Murder Mystery 2. It's the sequel to the original Murder Mystery featuring Jennifer Aniston and Adam Sandler. And of course, both of them are back on this big screen, and this time international. So this time around, it has to do with their wedding being kidnapped. With their friend being kidnapped while overseas during a wedding, right? So, of course, there's a ton of comedy, action-packed. It doesn't get any better than this, so definitely tune in if you enjoyed that very first film. Now, for option number 3, guys, I have Firefly Lane, Seasons 1 and 2. And now, the reason I say that, because Seasons 3 recent trailer just dropped a couple weeks ago, and actually upcoming release date of April 27th, so it's perfect time to catch up if you haven't seen the previous seasons already. So of course this is starring Katherine Hagel and then Sarah Chalk, where we see their friendship pretty much go through highs and lows all throughout their lives, through their teens into their 40s. However, spoiler alert, of course this season is focusing on Sarah's character, right, having cancer and not actually having her best friend with her by her side, because they ended up going through that kind of friendship breakup in the previous season. So the story is fun, it's emotional, it's captivating, right, with some comedy. So it's definitely one that you do not want to miss at all. Now, for option number 4, guys, I have Hoarders, which is releasing tomorrow, Saturday. So it's a reality series of following individuals' lives of their addictive habits of hoarders. I'm sure many of you probably know hoarders or joke around with people that have hoarders, right, in their lives. But this is to a much more extreme level. So maybe very interesting, as some of us may incorporate this in our daily lives, like, oh, you're a hoarder, right? So now with a show coming out and taking it to the extreme, it would be a great show to just tune in, watch every now and then, and just see some of the shocking kind of lifestyles that people do live. And now for option number 5, guys, I have Unstable. This was actually just released about 2 days ago, right? So this goes through the story of a son that actually is socially awkward, has like not the best social capabilities and has social problems, but is working for his father in a biological research company as well, and is currently trending on Netflix. So of course the actual series itself is doing great. It's fun, complete comedy, and I expect this to maybe even be greenlit for a second season. So if you haven't given it the time of day, definitely go ahead and check it out if you haven't already. And then for my very last option here is my hidden gem. I have The Age of Adeline. Now, this was released back in 2015. This stars Blake Lively and Michael Huisman, as well as Harrison Ford. Guys, now this story of a woman that goes through a freak accident and doesn't age and goes through a lot of decades, time periods, having to hide her identity, right? Due to this, while trying to balance her romantic life as well. So you can only imagine, right? Going through decades, not aging, seeing all your friends and family age right in front of your eyes, right? So the story is absolutely captivating. It's emotional. It's romance. There's some comedy in there. There's drama, right? But definitely something that you want to go ahead and check out if you've never heard of it. So there you guys have it. My top 5 choices in my hidden gem for Netflix. On to segment number 5, which is the Nielsen Charts. And as a reminder for my new viewers, and as a reminder to my current viewers, I love this actual series as well too. So thank you so much, guys, for returning as well. The Nielsen Charts, just as a reminder, is actually a month delayed. So this is the week of February 13th through the 19th. And what we do, we like to go over the overall charts of what people are watching right now. So I'm just going to run through the top 10 with you guys very quickly. Drop a comment down below if you guys are watching any of these and contributing to these numbers, or if I inspired you guys to actually go ahead and watch some new shows from those previous streaming platforms, or maybe even subscribe to some new streaming platforms that you didn't have because you're eager to watch that show or movie, right? But to kick it off with the Nielsen Charts, for number 1, we have Netflix's You. Of course, that's number 1, not surprised here. Option number 2, we have Netflix/Peacock is New Amsterdam. And then option number 3 is Netflix, Your Place or Mine. Option number 4, of course, the only one on this chart is HBO Max, The Last of Us. I'm actually surprised that this is not ranked number 2 or 1, but you know, HBO Max, not as many subscribers as Netflix, to say the least, as well too. Now, option number 5, we have Netflix NCIS. This has been staying steady in the top 10 for quite some time. Option number 6 is Netflix. We have CoComelon, which has been another returner as well. Option number 7, we have Netflix again for The Woman King, back on the top 10 charts, which is great to see. Option number 8 is Disney Plus with Bluey, back in the top 10 again. Option number 9, we have Netflix, The Walking Dead. And then option number 10, which is Netflix, Grey's Anatomy, which has been steadily staying in the top 10 pretty much for the previous 4 episodes that we went over for streaming and chill. But there you guys have it. As a reminder, we'll be replacing Disney Plus with Amazon Prime, so just keep that in mind for next week's episode releasing on Friday, the very first week of April. So just something to think about and some excitement to look forward to too, since we're going to be going on that rotation kind of basis with streaming platforms. But thanks so much for tuning in, guys. It's your boy, The Cash Gooder. You can tune into more videos right now. Peace.